Good afternoon, this is Park Bench Politics, and today we're going to talk about free speech. And David, I know this is a personal thing of yours, so why don't you lead off?
Look, it's a very difficult thing to talk about because free speech.
Feel free, David. Feel free to speak.
So the American Constitution, right? The founding fathers, they wrote this Constitution and they went, there you go, it's perfect. But then someone went, no, we need to amend it. And the very first amendment was the protection of free speech, the freedom of ideas, the freedom of expression. But it's become to mean something else today. And essentially, the First Amendment says that free speech is protected, even lies. You can't legally stop anyone from speaking their mind.
I mean, that's the problem with free speech. The basic concept is good. People should be free to speak their mind.
But you're not allowed to do anyone harm. But I used to. Hang on,
David. Again, that is like grabbing a bar of soap. Free speech is okay within certain boundaries, but then you get back to what are the boundaries and who gets to decide what the boundaries should be.
I used to be what's called a free speech absolutist. All speech should be free. You're allowed to say whatever you want. But that's before the concept of free speech became weaponized by the Trump cult, like this Charlie Kirk guy who got assassinated recently. When free speech is not about truth, right, for these people, it's about their own personal truth, and it's then put out there on social media. Unfortunately, what it's done is it's altered the minds, it's rewired the brains of millions of people, so they now believe totally bizarre things as if they're true. So free speech is actually doing, I think, at least liberal democracies a massive disservice.
You're either free to have, for example, extreme right-wing views, or you're not. And if you say you're not, then it's not free speech anymore.
The problem I've got with free speech is wrapped up with the concept of facts and truth. For me, facts are facts. They are
alternate facts. I think the MAGA group call them alternate facts.
Well, that's actually
you don't like a fact.
Yeah.
Come up with an alternate fact.
How that came about, Kellyanne Conway, who was a counsellor to Donald Trump in his first term, she used that when Sean Spicer, who was Trump's press secretary, claimed that Trump's crowds were the biggest in American political history. No president has ever had a crowd like that at their inauguration. Cut to the photographs of the crowd, and there's 15 people and a couple of crickets and a frog, watching the president. And Kellyanne Conway, when she was pressed about this, she goes, well, we've got alternate facts. I do find it ironic that Trump has called his own personal social media platform Truth Social, right?
Yeah.
There's also the concept of emotional truths. Emotional truths is pitching something so that your audience sees it the way you see it, not the way it is. And Donald Trump warps reality on a moment-by-moment basis.
Suppose Kellyanne Conway comes up with an alternative fact, which is clearly against the real facts. Now, are you saying that she should not be allowed the use of free speech to make that statement? And if you're saying that, who is the body that, and say, Kellyanne Conway has presented non-facts as facts, therefore we will prosecute her?
You can't go, well, this is permissible and this is not. Here I am, an Australian. I sort of find it a bit weird, on the one hand, that I keep using Trump as my example of why the world is going to hell in a handbasket. The reason that's so is because Trump, I think more than any president, has made me realise how consequential it is for liberal democracies around the world that a reasonable human being occupies the White House. And we don't have one of those there at the moment.
And we've got no guarantee for the future. If you're not careful, there go us.
He is the enemy of the ideal of free speech.
What can we put in place to to prevent that from happening.
I have a cunning plan.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's all about education for me. Right. And I think there needs to be in our schools a course that educates people on how to consume media, how to parse media, how to sift the bullshit from the truth.
I absolutely agree with you. I think that's the way to fight back, not through trying to put some form of censorship, which is it's a long slippery slope.
It would be abused.
It would be abused. But even there, you've got a problem. Right wing would say, oh yes, but the education system and the people preparing the curriculum and all that sort of thing and the universities
Are woke.
are full of woke lefties, right? So you're going to get a woke lefty influenced